Hi everyone, I'm just going to show you how I go about sprouting seed. So I do roughly that much in a container. So first thing I do, I get about 2 litres of water. So that container holds, what does it hold? 2 litres. So if I do that, so I get 2 litres of water, and I also put some VirkonS so it doesn't go off. I keep the VirkonS in the fridge. I get it from Finches sells it in these packets because it's quite expensive if you want to get huge amounts, but you can also buy it in quite small amounts. Like that is 2 litres of water. Put that in here. So to that 2 litres, normally with VirkonS you put, I think it says 10 grams per litre, but I just put roughly sort of two teaspoons where that's a teaspoon, so that's probably really only something like 10 grams altogether. And I mix it around. And to that I'm going to add my seed. I do a whole lot of different sorts of seeds, but normally I just use a mix. I shall put some seed here. That's probably, what's this container say? That says 2.75 litres. I'll just fill that up. My seed's around here. Won't be a sec. So that container's now got probably 2.75 litres, a little bit less. Seed, and I just put that straight in there until it's roughly full, and then just give it a stir so the bits that float don't escape. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that for just like that to soak for probably upwards, well, at least 2 hours, but you know what, sometimes I just leave it overnight and the next day when I'm feeding I'll come back and do it because I don't manage to get back down here. So I don't think it's critical, but really it needs at least 2 hours. I just put the lid on lightly simply because, as you probably noticed, there's a fly box right there and I don't want a million dead flies in it. And if it was cool weather, I'd put it up the top here on top of the fly box and remove some of the, because these containers here are actually flies. I'll show you. Can't see my hand going through it there. So that's my maggots that I'll feed out. They'll be ready in probably 2 days. And then there's another one up just down there. But I might, if it's cool weather, I'd put the seed up there. So, alright, we shall come back in 2 or more hours and we'll do the next stage. Okay, bye. Hi, we're back, so now it's 5 o'clock, so I think it's been well in excess of 5 hours, maybe 7 hours or something. So that's just been soaking in the VirkonS. Now I'm just going to drain that in the sink. So I'll take it over to the sink. And what I do, I just use a kitchen strainer, put that in there to catch the leftovers, and then I use the lid to stop most of it going down the gurgler. And I'm just trying to let most of the water out. So just let it go until it's just dripping. Don't stress about it. So that'll probably do. And then, so that's all pretty wet obviously. And then that's just going to sit to sprout, and then each day I just give it a rinse in the VirkonS. But it needs to stir over once a day too, because otherwise the top will dry out. And that's it, so I will come back tomorrow. Alright, it's the next day now. Unfortunately today I've lost my assistant, so you have to bear with me. I've just got the camera set up. I'm just going to give it a rinse, so take some water in, and again I'll put some VirkonS in too. A bit. So probably don't need quite as much, but so sort of 1.5 teaspoons. So that was half a teaspoon, another one. Do. I'll give that a bit of a stir to mix the VirkonS in. Sorry about the noise in the background. We're in a barn and it's the water pump going each time I turn the tap on. So I'll just mix that around. Now I usually just leave that to sit because I think it's sort of roughly 10 minutes they say for the VirkonS to sort of do its thing. So if there was any trace of fungus or anything growing, my thought is by leaving it for that sort of amount of time rather than just rinsing it straight out, you're going to just knock all that in the head. So what I'm going to do, leave it for 10 minutes, then I'll come back and just get rid of most of the water, same as I did the other day, and then basically I'm waiting again until it sprouts. Okay, see you shortly. Okay, that's the 10 minutes gone, so now I'm just going to rinse it just the same as I did previously. Using the strainer. Well, I'm not really going to rinse it, really I'm just draining it to get rid of most of the moisture. So it's now pretty much 24 hours since I first started the process by soaking it. Remember I soaked it for the 2 hours. I must acknowledge Mike Fiddler, obviously, who got us all onto the VirkonS. I'm sort of copying some of his method, I guess, but a little bit modified to what works for me. I find, in terms of the actual sprouts, maybe it's just the mix I'm using, the seeds I'm using, but it's probably the climate too. They take a bit longer to sprout. Like if I won't take a close-up shot at this stage because I can tell you they haven't really started to sprout enough. But I would say in another day they'll be ready to go. So I'll leave that again in a warm spot. Hi everyone, it's actually the afternoon on the second, so it's sort of 2.5 days since we started. And it's started to sprout, so we're just going to give it a final rinse and get rid of the moisture again, and then I'm just going to put it in the fridge, but you could put it in the freezer as well. Okay, so we'll just I'll just mix it around a bit. Just if you can try to go right in really close on that and see if you can see, just hold that up, see if you can see the sprouts. I haven't got my reading glasses on, but you can see there's a very small shoots. Like look at that. See that seed there? There's like very small shoots coming out. That's plenty. That's fine. It's ready to feed. But I just want to give it one more VirkonS just to make sure that there's no fungus in there, because it has been sitting all day. So just cold water. I'll get the VirkonS out of the fridge. And I'll just grab a teaspoon. Excuse me. Cameraman. Yep. Do it. And I'll just put half a teaspoon and another flat teaspoon. That will do. And we've got to leave that same as before for at least 10 minutes. I'll just give it a stir, because that, I believe, and I shall check in a sec while we're waiting the 10 minutes, is what it says on the VirkonS sheet. Right. I also, that one's gone, but I also have VirkonS mixed up in a spray bottle, and I use it whenever I see a bit of mould somewhere, or when I'm cleaning the floor of the holding aviary that's pretty crowded. After I've cleaned the floor, I'll give it a spray with that, and that just gets rid of any fungus and bacteria and all that sort of stuff. Let's just see if I can have a look here. So, This is saying it's a broad spectrum against viruses, bacteria and fungi at low temperatures in hard water on porous surfaces and against organic challenge. So it does all those things, and I'll just double check the applications. Broad spectrum activity, and it's, let me see how much it's saying. Disinfectant dilution rate 1 to 100. That's right. So 10 grams of VirkonS to every 1 litre of water is what it's saying for routine. So I was right, 10 grams, and I'm using a little bit less than that. So this is fine, but it's one that I believe all the veterinary surgeries use, and a lot of other sorts of labs as well. Okay, we'll come back shortly after that's been there for 10 minutes, and we'll finish up. Okay, that's the 10 minutes up, so I'm going to just rinse that now. So again, grab my kitchen sieve, I'll put that in the sink, stop it going down the sink. Just hold the lid over there to stop most of the seed coming out. But the sieve gets, the fact that a lot goes out doesn't really matter, because it's all going into the sieve. Now I know, depends on how many birds you've got of course, but I know some people who actually do pretty much exactly this process, but they do it in a 10 litre bucket. So instead of, like I did, roughly 2 litres of seed, or 2.5 litres of seed I think it was, wasn't it actually? They might do 5 or 10 litres at once in a bucket, and that works just as well. Try and get rid of a bit of the moisture. Now, what I do, because that amount basically lasts me, with the number of birds I've got, and with the fact that there are a few of them breeding, that amount of seed there basically lasts me 5-6 days, something like that. So I do it that often, and it seems to last fine like that in the fridge. If I was going to freeze it, and I have done this in the past, you could either split it up into the amounts that you want each day, because otherwise this is not particularly dry, so it will freeze into a hard block, or add your dry soft food to it now, mix that through, and that helps to stop it turning into a block as well. So I'm just going to put it in the fridge. And for soft food, I often use, I have this for some really clipped sparrows. I use the Neocare and just mix it into that too, not too much. But you can use other things, whatever soft food it is that you like to use. Alright, and that's how I sprout seed. Thanks for watching. Bye.